Global TV News Express headlines: reducing cabinet will affect performance, says Tinubu insists. 26,800 die annually from tobacco-related sickness, says the federal government. INEC expresses concern over threats of violence. Plus, Huriwa rejects calls for NYSC suspension. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television. We are live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Anthony Momodu. President Bola Tinubu has justified his cabinet of 47 ministers, saying the number reflects the diversity of roles required to run an efficient government. Tinubu acknowledged criticism over his heavily staffed cabinet, stating that merging portfolios would only heap some officials with more burdens than they can bear. The president expressed doubt about reducing his cabinet, saying no guarantee this would boost performance. He also urged the leadership of the Christian Association of Nigeria to propagate the message of tolerance and hope amongst Nigerians, warning that the opposite could damage the country beyond repair. Tinubu, who emphasized the role of faith leaders in fostering unity and peace in the country, also said his administration would not relent in addressing corruption and other vices, as such endeavor sets the country right for the prosperity of all Nigerians. The United States Secretary of State Anthony Blinken will Tuesday meet the President of Nigeria and Ivory Coast in a bid to forge a united front with key African democracies as crises engulf the world. In Abidjan, Blinken will meet Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara, a veteran leader who has won U.S. praise for consolidating democracy, before heading to Abuja to see Nigerian President Bola Tinubu elected last year on the platform of economic reforms. The two West African powers, one English-speaking and one French-speaking, have largely stood by the United States despite unease in much of the continent over the Western focus on arming Ukraine. More recently, U.S. support for Israel in its war with Hamas. Africa's most populous country, Nigeria and Ivory Coast, as well as Kenya in East Africa, joined the United States in the United Nations vote in 2022 to condemn Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The federal government has said that the more than 26,800 annual deaths in Nigeria have been attributed to tobacco-related diseases, even as 4.5 million Nigerians aged 15 and above are tobacco users. This was contained in a statement by the acting executive vice chairman, Federal Competitive Consumer Protection Commission, Adamu Abdullahi, at the formal launch of its tobacco control advocacy tagged "Don't Burn Their Future." Abdullahi said the initiative addresses the alarming rise in young and underage access to tobacco products. He added that the move also aimed to curb the detrimental impact on society. Abdullahi emphasized the dynamic nature of sound health, which encompasses physical, mental, and social well-being. The campaign underscores the collective responsibility of individuals, communities, and the prioritized healthcare system in fostering a healthier future for the youth. The federal government has revealed that the student loan scheme it recently initiated will be funded from education tax in collaboration with the Federal Inland Revenue Service. FIRS Chairman Zach Adedeji spoke while briefing newsmen, along with Executive Secretary of the Student Loan Board, Dr. Akintunde Sawyer, at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. He stated that the introduction of the Education Tax Fund into the scheme is one way the government could be accountable to taxpayers. Sawyer assured that the process for applying for the loan would be devoid of human intervention, as every action would be taken on an app specifically designed for the purpose. According to him, the government is keen at ensuring that young Nigerians do not fail to acquire tertiary education on account of lack of funds to pursue their studies. He explained that the implementation of the loan scheme would enable Nigerians to pick a career trajectory of their choice rather than being forced to do something else because they are unable to acquire requisite education due to lack of funds. Sawyer affirmed that the facility would also stem the dangerous journey undertaken by Nigerian youths across the Sahel to Europe in search of better life. Civil rights advocacy group Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, HURIWA, has strongly rejected recent calls for the suspension of the National Youth Service Corps and instead advocated for enhanced security measures and increased funding. Comrade Emmanuel Owobiko, the national coordinator of HURIWA, at a press conference in Abuja Tuesday, emphasized the NYSC's integral role in shaping national identity, fostering unity and empowering the youth over its 5-decade history. HURIWA categorically rejected the proposition to suspend the NYSC, highlighting its enduring mission to bridge ethnic and cultural gaps amongst Nigerian youths. He expressed concern that suspending the NYSC would undermine these fundamental principles and deprive the nation of a vital institution. Owobiko acknowledged the prevailing security challenges in the country, but emphasized that the NYSC is a victim and not the root cause. The rights group called on the government to implement comprehensive security measures that safeguard all citizens, including NYSC members. And still in the news, the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike says the federal government is working to improve the nation's economy with a view to addressing poverty, one of the drivers of insecurity. Wike, who stated this during a media interaction in Abuja, explained that poverty and the economy were two sides of a coin, just as poverty and criminality were connected. He explained that the federal government, through its subsidy removal and other economic policies, was working hard to improve the country's economy, which had been in terrible state for a very long time. He urged Nigerians to wait patiently, adding that the measures would, in the long run, improve the economy as a practical solution to poverty reduction. While acknowledging the contribution of poverty to the rising security in the FCT and the country, the minister stressed that poverty was not peculiar to FCT alone. In a related development, the FCT administration has concluded plans to strengthen collaboration with the 4 neighboring states in the territory to tackle cross-border crimes. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, made this known while addressing newsmen in Abuja. Wike pointed out that the FCTA would not succeed in curbing the tide of insecurity without the collaboration of the neighboring states. He identified the states as Kogi, Nasarawa, Niger, and Kaduna, stressing that criminals from Niger and Kaduna constitute the major challenge to FCT. He explained that the coalition was to serve as a platform to support one another and reduce the level of insecurity. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has expressed concerns about the threat of violence by partisans ahead of the February 3rd by-elections and rerun. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu, who spoke at a meeting of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security on Tuesday in Abuja, said from experience the conduct of isolated elections such as by-elections and rerun elections can be very challenging, noting that election is a multi-stakeholder responsibility. Yakubu said security agencies have the responsibility of securing the environment to enable INEC deploy personnel and materials, the protection of observers, the media, as well as polling and coalition agents representing the political parties and candidates. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arrested 24 suspects allegedly undergoing tutelage as internet scammers in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State Capital. EFCC spokesperson Dele Oyewole said the suspects were arrested Monday following an intelligence report at a story building suspected to be a hideout for training internet fraudsters at the Ewet Housing Estate and Nelson Mandela, respectively. Oyewole stated that the all-male suspects were arrested in 2 locations in an intelligence-driven sting operation at the D-Line Equator Housing Estate and the Nelson Mandela area, both in Uyo. Items recovered from the premises and suspects include 5 exotic cars, 18 laptops, 17 mobile phones, and 1 internet router. And still in the news, armed policemen Tuesday tear-gassed the 16 People's Democratic Party members of the Plateau State House of Assembly who were sacked by the Court of Appeal. The lawmakers had arrived at the Rayfield Old Government House in Jos alongside their supporters preparatory to their resumption to the plenary when the incident happened. The policemen and other security operatives took over the premises of the government house and prevented the sacked lawmakers from going into the chambers of the House of Assembly, but the lawmakers had vowed not to vacate their premises. And moving to Kaduna, the Kaduna State Police Command has recorded yet another feat in the fight against crime and criminality in the state with the arrest of a suspected gun runner and the recovery of ammunition. The incident occurred on the 17th January when the police officers from Divisional Police Headquarters Tudunwada, Zaria, on tactical operation duty TOD accosted a certain Musa Yusuf who was on a commercial motorcycle and in possession of a suspicious handbag. He was intercepted by the police officers attached to Tudunwada Zaria Division. Investigation is still ongoing and concerted efforts made to arrest his accomplices, after which case will be charged to court. The Commissioner of Police, Kaduna State Command, CP Ali, has applauded the police officers and calls for more visibility policing. He charged operatives to dominate their area of responsibility and make their presence felt. This, he concluded, will deter criminals from carrying out their nefarious acts in the state. And moving to Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang has declared a 24-hour curfew on the Mangu local government area of the state with immediate effect. The development was confirmed in a statement issued on Tuesday by the governor's Director of Press and Public Affairs, Gian Bere. He stated that only persons of essential duties are allowed to move within the local government area until further notice. He urged all citizens, especially residents of Mangu local government area, to comply with the directive and assist the security personnel by providing reliable information to restore peace and order in the area. He lamented that some people are still determined to create an atmosphere of insecurity in the state despite the government's effort to end the activities of terrorist elements. He said the decision followed the deteriorating security situation in the area. The federal government school feeding program in Osun State has resumed at St. James Primary School, Oshogbo, after it was suspended in December following the alleged poisoning of some pupils. About 18 pupils of the St. James Primary School, Oshogbo, ended up in the hospital after taking a midday meal of rice with egg and vegetables on Monday, December 11, 2023. The incident generated an uproar in the state as the stakeholders demanded a thorough probe, making the state government to suspend the feeding program in the school. The state government directed a probe into the incident and subjected the affected pupils to test at the Osun State University Teaching Hospital, Oshogbo, after which the State Commissioner for Education, Digbo Oluwole, said the pupils were all certified well except one that was observed to be suffering malnutrition. Speaker of Ogun State House of Assembly, Honorable Kunle Oluomo, has been impeached as the Speaker of the Ogun State House of Assembly. 18 of the 36 members of the State Assembly voted for Oluomo's impeachment at plenary session on Tuesday. Oluomo was impeached for alleged embezzlement of funds, high-handedness, and related offenses ranging from financial fraud to leadership tussle at the State Assembly. His impeachment may not be unconnected to the many allegations against him. In his place, Honorable Oludasi Elemide has been appointed as the new Speaker. You're watching News Express coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times Channel 276. Kindly follow us on all our social media platforms using Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. When News Express returns, federal government moves FAN headquarters from Abuja to Lagos. The news continues shortly with details of these and more stories right after this break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Global Television bringing you live broadcast of the News Express. Thank you for staying with us. And in the news, the federal government has authorized the relocation of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, FAN, from Abuja to Lagos. FAN has stated that its relocation to Lagos is in the best interest of the country, admitting that relocation wasn't an overnight decision, but was made after wide consultations by the new management with stakeholders, which also involved the unions. In a statement, it pointed out some of the reasons behind this move, stating that it is in the best interest of the authority and the country in general. The airport regulatory agency said those affected by the decision to move the headquarters to Abuja have since returned to Lagos, as there is no office space for them in Abuja. On the foreign scene, overnight Russian missile attacks across Ukraine, including the capital Kiev and some city Kharkiv, have killed 3 people and injured dozens. Regional officials made this known on Tuesday. Sounds of air raid sirens echo over the capital at night, followed by a series of loud blasts, likely from air defense systems responding to the Russian target. Ukraine's Army Chief Valery Zazuni said on social media that Russian forces had fired 41 missiles, including cruise and ballistic missiles, and that his forces had downed 21. The worst hit city was Kharkiv, lying just next to the Russian border, where the mayor said 2 people had died and nearly 40 injured. NATO on Tuesday signed contract worth $1.2 billion to acquire over 200,000 155mm artillery shells in the face of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Members of the Western Military Alliance have drained their stocks, sending shipment of heavy ammunition to help Ukraine's forces battle Russia in a brutal war of attrition. The latest deals are signed with French firm Nexstar and Germany's Young Hans Mitrotech are estimated by officials to cover around 220,000 shells, and deliveries to NATO members will start at the end of 2025. Israel said Tuesday 24 soldiers were killed in the biggest single-day losses since the start of its ground war in Gaza, and growing pressure on the government to find a way to end the conflict. The heavy clashes came as a White House official was due in the region for talks aimed at securing more hostages releases, and as U.S. media reported, a new Israeli proposal for a deal that would involve a 2-month pause in fighting. 24 soldiers were killed on Monday, with the army saying 21 of them were reservists slain when rocket-propelled grenade fire hit a tank and 2 buildings were trying to blow up. More than 200 people attended the funeral of one of the reverses, Hada Kapluk, whose coffin was dropped with an Israeli flag at the Mount Herzl Military Cemetery in Jerusalem. Let's turn to business. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps and its men destroyed 4 illegal oil refining sites in a Khartoum Channel, one in the Gama local government area of Rivers State. The Corps said the suspected oil thieves vandalized facilities, including pipelines belonging to Sahara Oil, siphoned the crude oil, and thereafter established an illegal refining site. The spokesperson for the NSCDC Rivers State Command, Olufemi Ayodele, disclosed this in a statement issued in Port Harcourt on Monday night. The statement said the state commandant ordered massive destruction of all materials used in carrying out the illegal oil bunkering, and over 4 different refining stations have been destroyed altogether, and noted that the suspect took to their heels upon citing the marine operatives. The 58 lawmakers under the aegis of the Northern Senators Forum have alleged that projections and provisions of the 28.7 trillion naira 2024 budget are unfair to the North. They also allege that some federal agencies were being relocated to Lagos. The Northern Senators, however, said they were committed to addressing the concerns and feelings of their constituents in the North regarding the decision and policies put forth by the federal government, including seeking legal redress if possible. The senators made this known in a statement signed by the person, Senator Suleiman Kawu, ANPP Kanu South, on Monday in Abuja, titled Allocation and Distribution of Funds in 2024 National Budget and Relocation of Some Federal Agencies to Lagos. Let's run into the exciting world of sport. Andy Robertson is set to travel with Liverpool squad for Wednesday's League Cup semi-final at Fulham as the Scotland defender continues his recovery from a shoulder injury. Robertson sustained the damage in a collision with Spain goalkeeper Unai Simon during Scotland's Euro 2024 qualifying defeat in October. The 29-year-old then underwent surgery, but a lengthy spell on the sideline could now be nearing an end. Premier League leaders Liverpool will arrive in London with a 2-1 advantage from the first leg at Anfield. Jurgen Klopp's men went 5 points clear at the top of the league despite Mohamed Salah being on Egypt duty at the African Cup of Nations with a 4-0 win at Bournemouth on Sunday. As we end our Global Television News Express, here are the highlights of the top stories that made the headlines. Reducing cabinet will affect performance, Tinubu insisted. 26,800 died annually from tobacco-related sickness, says the federal government. INEC expressed concern over threats of violence. And we also told you, Horiwa rejected calls for NYSC's suspension. That's it on News Express, and it came to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. I am Anthony Momodu saying thank you for watching and see you again.